Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. Today we are discussing a variant of the Vacheron Constantin Historiques American 1921. So the modern watch debuted in 2008, and it was a fusion of two historic watches, one made in 1919 and one made in 1921. So in 2017, a smaller version of the watch, more true to history, was released, and that was 36.5 millimeters, but initially in rose gold. For 2021, the centennial of the original, at least one of them, the watch was released as a mid-size in white gold, which is what we have right here. The model variant launched in 2021. So in white gold, really gray gold, more on that in a moment. It's 36.5 millimeters in diameter, 7.7 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 42.2 millimeters, with an 18 millimeter spacing in between the lugs. Now, when I throw this watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, I actually feel that's pretty good. I think for elegance, it's a better fit than the 40 millimeter version. You got to realize both of them wear a little bit bigger than their rated size. It is super flat though, and my wrist is 16 centimeters circumference. I can wear either version of the watch, but I would recommend this one for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. So this really is the power watch for him and for her. There's your over the top, there's your cuff shot, again, under 8 millimeters thick, very slim. The strap emphasizes the slim and trim theme. As you can see, it's a bonded strap, there's no stitching. So you have calfskin on the bottom, no crimping, no binding, brand new strap, and then you have large rectangular scale alligator leather on the top with a little bit of a distressed grain to it, a high gloss black decoration. You can see too that we have a Vacheron buckle with the Maltese cross motif that is the symbol of the manufacturer. You can see that this buckle was made by Cornu. Cornu, the manufacturer, is the reverse of Unrock. Now, the watch features a case that is monoblock. So what do I mean by that? I mean the bezel and the case are all one piece. There's no seam between them. It's incredibly clean. Everything loads through the case back. The dial, the movement, it just goes in through the back so the top can be completely unmarred. You can also see how there's a ton of tumble home at the corners. The case bezel really rolls off to the sides. And then we have an almost perfectly flush fit between the crystal and the case. A little Maltese cross offset crown. You can see that we have lugs that are beautifully welded into place, a very old school way of making a case, laborious, time consuming, and it adds to the inherent value as opposed to the monetary value, the inherent artistic and cultural value of this case, that it is made so laboriously. The dial has a lovely granular blasted texture with these lovely pre-Art Deco numerals. Remember, the Exposition des Arts Décoratifs did not come out until 1925, and the Exposition was influential, but not immediately. It really wasn't until the very end of the 20s and the beginning of the 30s that Art Deco as a movement became a clearly discernible trend. This is much more in the spirit of Art Nouveau, and you can see that in the font used for the numerals. You can also see we've got these lovely blackened white gold hands, and then a white gold Maltese cross logo. The watch is made in Geneva. We have a sunken sub-register with a chemin de fer for the seconds. We have chemin de fer outboard for the minutes, and then a concentric pattern or azurage. You can see the hands are of high quality. The dial is nuanced and beautiful, and the movement is perfectly sized for the case. This is the same movement that you get on the full-size version of the watch, which is to say in a smaller case, it's an even better match. Caliber 4400/1, manual wind, 65-hour power reserve, 4 Hz beat rate, 21 joules, adjusted in 5 positions, which is the standard for high horology, but also for chronometers. It's beautifully decorated and very thin. You can see it has the Geneva hallmark on it, the imprimatur of highest quality, decoration and assembly, materials and finish for a watch made in the city or canton of Geneva. As a standard, it has evolved and become more exacting since it was originally created in the late 19th century, in the 1880s, to encourage prominent branding and high standards for watches made in Geneva at a time when watchmaking was moving east into the Vallée du Jeu, Neuchâtel, and La Chaux de Fonds. So this was Geneva fighting back during that period. But since 2012, and I believe it is mid-2012, it's been a standard for the quality of the entire watch. And so you can see the stamp not just on the movement, but also on the case itself. This is all 30 meters water resistant, which is dress watch standard. Splash or rain, that's the standard of water resistance. Don't submerge it. The decoration is excellent. Many narrow stripes of high quality and broad shading. You can see that the shading really is, it's dark to bright, dark to bright, dark to bright. That's difficult to achieve. A lot of times, lazy striping just consists of a few broad, relatively flat-looking waves. These really do look deep, and they have a lovely gradient of luminosity. So, a wonderful example of striping done right. You can also see the beveling is fantastic. Notice that not only are the bevels mirrored and broad, but we have interior angles here at center. And then again, flanking the pivot for the escape wheel. We have locating pegs that are used to locate bridges on the base plate. You can see those have been polished on their top, and then the countersinks around them have been mirror beveled. The same is true for the countersinks of the screws and the jewels. They've been internally beveled. Beautiful. Engine turning in at least 2 different sizes on the base plate. KIF shock protection employed on that balance, which uses traditional curb pins for adjustment of timing. The wheels are satinated. You can see we have a lovely off-centered solarization for the crown wheel core. And then you can see solarization, beautiful, detailed solarization on the barrel cover, which I'm pleased to see here. And again, these bevels are excellent in quality and execution. So if you love this watch, this may be the modern American to own. Look, there is an apocryphal story, I'm just going to share it because I like the tale, that the original was designed as a driver's watch, because when your hand is on the wheel, you can see how the watch would be perfectly oriented to read easily. I'm not going to say that's a fact or a fiction, I'm just going to say I like the story. Reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing. And a final note about gray gold, since I mentioned it early. It's a white gold, seen here, that has no rhodium plating and needs none. It's white naturally and is white all the way through. Again, reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com.